Namaste. I am Shubham Alock. Welcome to my YouTube channel once again. In continuation to the last video, now we are going to explore the aspect of planets even more deeply. As I told in the previous video as well, these videos are to enlighten you about my forthcoming course, which deals with basics of Vedic astrology and aims at taking the student from basics to the advanced level of Vedic astrology. The course is named Zero to Jyotish. It starts from the basics of Rashi and in every class deals with the Rashi in three novel and separate manners. And along with dealing with the Rashis, it also deals with the Lord of the Rashis, planets, the natural houses where the Rashi falls, bhavas, and a technique which simplifies your astrological practice, a technique which gives you quick result and helps you grow in astrology. We will discuss the content of the course separately in a video, but the course is a must for every beginner if they want to start with their Vedic astrological journey, or even for advanced astrologers if they want to upgrade their skills. In the continuation from the previous video, we knew about the aspect of planets, how the 8 planets from Sun to Rahu cast their aspect. The aspects told in the previous video were full aspect, or say complete aspect, or say 100% aspect. But other than this 100% aspect, planets also have partial aspects. And this partial aspect is very important factor which is often ignored by astrologers, or even 90% of the astrologers don't even know about these aspects. I am going to tell you about aspects now in more detail. So as we know, Sun, Moon, Mercury, Venus, these 4 planets aspect the 7th house with their full aspects, and they don't have any special aspect. Whereas Mars, along with aspecting the 7th house with his full aspect, also aspects the 4th house and 8th house from his position with full aspect. Jupiter, along with aspecting the 7th house, also aspects the 5th house and 9th house from his position. Saturn, along with aspecting the 7th house, also aspects the 3rd house and 10th house from his position with full aspect. And Rahu aspects the 9th house, 5th house and 12th house with his full aspect. These full aspects are complete, 100% aspect. But there is something known as partial aspect. Every planet, excluding Mars, influences the 4th house and 8th house from their position with 75% aspect. I will repeat. Every planet except Mars and Rahu also, every planet except Mars and Rahu influences the 4th and 8th from their position with 75% aspect. Every planet except Jupiter and Rahu aspects 5th and 9th from their position with 50% aspect. And every planet except Saturn and Rahu aspects the 3rd and 10th from their position with 25% aspect. These partial aspects are very important and should never be ignored. Their importance is something which cannot be ignored. And this is one of the very major rule on how to predict the houses which are empty. When you look at horoscopes, you will find that not every house will have a planet. And the result of that house is to be told based on aspect. But in some horoscopes, there will be houses with no aspect at all. In the case of those houses where there is no aspect, generally astrologers start their analysis with the house lord. But as we learn in the parampara, that the domain of planet in the house, the domain of lord of the Rashi is entirely different. Because their domains are different, we cannot mix the planet posited in the sign with the planet lord in the sign. For an example, as I always quote, the 7th house deals with marriage, whereas the 7th lord is the physical manifestation of your life partner. Now you cannot confuse between the two of them. If the 7th house is having a planet, that will indicate how your marital life is, whereas the 7th lord is supposed to tell you how your wife is, the physical condition of your wife. Now to understand it, take an example. Your marital life can be bad. That doesn't mean that your spouse is also a bad person. On the other hand, your spouse can be a bad person, but your marital life may or may not be bad. This is the difference between the house and the house lord. For another example, to simplify it to a better extent, suppose the 11th house. 11th house indicates gain, and 11th lord does indicate the quantum of the gain. In the case of living beings, the house indicates the condition and the lord indicates the living being. As in 7th house indicates marriage and 7th lord indicates the partner. Whereas in the case of non-living things like 11th house, the house indicates the source of income, whereas the house lord indicates the quantum of income, the quantity of income. Planets in the 11th house tell you from which sources you will earn money, whereas the 11th lord will tell you how much amount of money will you earn. So for an example, suppose someone is having Rahu in his 11th house. Rahu, being a technical planet, indicates income from things related to hardware, things which are made up of pure metals, iron, steel, etc. It does also indicate income from import and export and other things, other significations for Rahu. But the 11th lord, say if the 11th lord is exalted or debilitated, there is a sloka by Gemini, Tasmin Uchchai Niche Va Shrimantah. Both the exalted and debilitated planet indicates a lot of money. Someone having Rahu in 11th house, whereas the 11th lord is in a normal sign, inimical sign. In that scenario, the person will earn from hardware, but his income will be normal. Versus a case where Rahu is in the 11th house and the 11th lord is either debilitated or exalted. In that scenario, person will earn from hardware, things related to hardware, but his income will be very great. So the 11th house indicates from where you earn money, whereas the 11th lord indicates the quantum of money, the quantum of the earning. This is the difference between the house and the house lord. For this fine distinction that you only know through the parampara, because the knowledge is not freely available, we get a hint that we cannot confuse with planet in the house and the lord of the house. So coming back to the prime question that we were tackling of aspect, when a house is empty, we are supposed to follow 4 steps as the parampara advises us. Those 4 steps I will deal in another video. right now, if no planet is in a house, you are supposed to see aspect. But multiple times, many times, you will find that there is no aspect on the house. What you are supposed to do in that scenario? In that scenario, we are advised to take the partial aspect of planets. What does it mean to say? Suppose a horoscope. A horoscope with Aquarius ascendant. Saturn is in the ascendant. Moon is in the 6th house. You can draw this horoscope on a paper if you want to. So suppose it is an ascendant with Saturn in the ascendant, Moon in the 6th house, Rahu in the 8th house, Sun and Jupiter in the 11th house, and Venus, Mercury and Mars in the 12th house. Now if you look at this chart, you will see that the 9th house and the 10th house is not aspected by any planet. So should I say that this person will not work or he will not have any fortune? No. We have to see the aspects. Now the 9th house and 10th house don't have planets in them. Neither they come under any type of aspect. So we have to check for partial aspects. We will first look into the 9th house. Now we should first check 75% aspect. If any planet is in the 2nd house, then he will aspect the 9th house with his 8th aspect, which is 75%. Or if any planet is in the 6th house, then he will aspect the 9th house with his 75% aspect. In the chart that you just draw, the example chart, the moon is in the 6th house. Hence the result of moon aspecting the 6th house, the result of moon aspecting the 9th house is going to come. The first implication of any aspect is that the result of the planet is carried out with his aspect. The result of the planet is carried out with his aspect. As moon is the karaka for fluctuation. This is a very important rule that you should remember. Moon is the karaka for fluctuation. Whichever house you will have moon, in that house you will have fluctuations. Because moon controls the ebb and tides of the sea. Moon himself becomes waxing and waning. So moon indicates the tendency of going up, coming down, going up, coming down. Moon influencing the 9th house will indicate that this person is sometimes lucky and sometimes unlucky. So this person should plan everything astrologically. Otherwise, the bad spell of fortune will make many things bad in his life. Right? Secondly, moon is the karaka for waters. So to enhance his luck, this person should be very close to water. This person can have a water body like a fish aquarium in his workplace, etc. And multiple things related to moon. As moon is the 6th lord, it will also indicate that he has many enemies which will obstruct his path to success. We are taking the analogy, successful is equal to lucky. As the 6th lord moon is aspecting the 9th house, there will be many enemies, many hurdles, many thorns in the way of him being successful. As moon is the lord of the 6th house, which also indicates weakness, the person is supposed to have many inherent psychological behavioral weakness which will stop him from reaching to the top. This is how it should be predicted with regard to houses. Now there is something more to it. There is something more to it. And that is when there is a partial aspect between two planets. And this is one of the biggest parampara secret that I also taught in a previous course. Suppose let's take an example. This thing that I am going to tell you now is extensively used in Bhrigu Nandi Nadi. Researched and developed by R.G. Rao. I will name this rule as hypothetical conjunction of planets. So suppose there is Sun in the 4th house and there is Mars in the 12th house and there is Moon in the 8th house. Now 5th and 9th from Sun will have 50% and 50% of aspect. 5th and 9th from Mars will have 50% and 50% of aspect. And 5th and 9th from Moon will have 50% and 50% of aspect. Now 50 plus 50 is equal to 100. That's a basic mathematical equation, right? So in the 12th house where Mars is situated, 50% result of Sun and 50% result of Moon is also coming. And with the basic equation of 50 plus 50 is equal to 100, we should take this condition, this certain condition, as a hypothetical conjunction of Mars with Sun and Moon. We should take this as a hypothetical conjunction of Mars with Sun, who is 50%, and Moon, who is 50%, making it 100%. And should predict the result accordingly. As Sun is the Karaka for father, Moon is the Karaka for mother, and Mars is the Karaka for anger, the parent of the person may be separated because of a fight, or because Mars is also the Karaka of work. Either mother or father of the person is not in a good condition to work. Maybe the father is unemployed, or mother is diseased and she cannot carry her household duties. Things like this will happen. This is the second implication of these partial aspects. Only these two techniques for today. I will not bug you with a lot of techniques. Most probably in some other video, I will take more aspects of the partial aspects. In this video we will talk only this much. But I will remind you once again that the partial aspect is ignored by 90% of astrologers. Many are even not aware of it. But this is a very important principle. This is a very important technique that you cannot ignore under any situation. If you ignore this, you will never be able to read a horoscope completely. There will be multiple results in the life of the native which will remain unanswered for you if you don't use this technique. This is highly important technique that you should check in every horoscope. I will wait for you to check it in your own horoscope regarding the empty houses and regarding the hypothetical conjunction. And if there is any question, please ask that in the comments below. Thank you for watching the video. The link to join the course 0 to Jyotish, which aims to take the student from the basics to the advanced level. To join that course, the link will be given in description. Thank you for watching the video and taking your time out. Namaste.